Welcome to Category Management Knowledge Group's course preview on measuring category health, baseline, and incremental drivers. Every retail and sales organization should complete health checks on their categories or brands to understand the big picture perspective of overall performance. This includes in-depth understanding of consumer trends, the economy, competitive environment, and each tactic. A deep dive understanding will highlight strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for your categories or brands that may not be apparent from a top-line look at the data. It's important to do this using baseline and incremental sales data that may be available in your point of sale data. Here are the learning objectives for this course. You'll get a much better understanding of the importance of drilling through data from different perspectives, and also learn how to properly maximize the use of baseline and incremental sales data. A category or brand health assessment will look at the external environment in addition to internal, category, and segment-specific measures. This course will give you the skills to address important questions associated with the category's health, including those associated with the consumer, trends, the economy, competition, and tactics associated with winning segments and brands. According to McKinsey & Company, there are 5 global trends that will shape the consumer packaged goods and retail industry in the next decade. 1 billion new middle-class consumers in emerging markets, the rise of the digital consumer, the shift to value, the impact of demographic shifts, including aging and ethnicity, on consumption patterns, and increasingly volatile input costs driven by natural resource shortages and the emergence of fewer, bigger vendors. These 5 trends will impact the performance of CPG and retail companies in the next decade, and we need to consider these trends when we analyze the health of a category. Category health has many different dimensions. These dimensions are driven by different data perspectives and views of the data, and that should be considered when completing a category health assessment. There are also relationships between the different data dimensions. Understanding these relationships and learning how to correlate the insights can result in a highly effective, multidimensional view of category health. Some relationships are more important to understand than others, as are some data dimensions. Once again, this health check is relevant for marketing, sales, and category management, and allows for an in-depth understanding of a category or brand. Different data dimensions may be more or less important based on the different perspectives of the health assessment. In this course, we'll review some of these multidimensional factors in more detail, including category trends, category tactics, competitive trends, target consumer trends, and economic and political trends. In the full course, we start by measuring the health of a category through analyzing overall performance results. Next, we tie the results into the category tactics, such as product assortment, pricing, and promotion, followed by reviewing some other factors that relate to a category's health, and summed up through a SWOT analysis. Ultimately, understanding these concepts will lead to more strategic business choices in driving the direction of the business. When analyzing the health of a category, start with the volume trends and then drill into baseline and incremental sales. And finally, into category drivers or tactics to understand what metrics are impacting the performance of the category. This approach needs to start at a category level, then drilled into segments and brands, and sometimes even into items. It's important to note that there are different perspectives that can be taken when completing a category health assessment based on different retailer and vendor perspectives. For the retailer, their focus will be primarily on understanding how the category is performing for them versus the market and what is driving these results. For the vendor, the focus will be on the category when working directly with specific retailers on category management projects, and their brands when interpreting their internal results. For their marketing team, they'll focus primarily on brand or category health, depending on what they're looking for through their health assessment. These different perspectives will drive different views of the data, but the overall flow and logic remains the same. In the example that we complete for this training course, we focus on a category for a specific retailer and complete a health check on the category versus the total market. Once again, this health check is a relevant exercise for marketing, sales, and category management in order to truly understand a category or brand's business. According to a study by the Grocery Manufacturing Association, consumer packaged goods companies who collaborate with strategic retailers delivered stronger category growth than their competitors. Vendors need to focus on sales, profit, and growth when determining the best retailer partners. By selecting a wider range of retailers, vendors increase their chances to succeed. We are now ready to start reviewing category results. This step gives us a look at past and current results in the category for the retailer. It also looks at business results based on syndicated POS data. There are three basic measures that we need to look at when assessing category health. First is dollar sales, which is the most commonly used sales measure. It reports what consumers are spending and represents the dollar value of total sales. To understand what consumers are buying, we need to also look at unit sales and equivalized volume. If your dollar sales are up, is it because consumers are buying more or because your prices are going up? Unit sales and equivalized volume are important measures to look at in addition to dollar sales, especially when package sizes have changed. The second measure is unit sales, which is the total package sales, or the number of units that consumers buy, like a box, carton, bottle, etc. The final measure is equivalized sales or tonnage, which equivalizes sales based on pounds, ounces, cases, doses, or servings. Let's look at an example of how to compare the percent change across dollars, units, and equivalized volume, and how to interpret different scenarios. Here's a graph that shows percent change for 4 brands across the 3 measures. Brand A is growing in dollar sales, is relatively flat in unit sales, and declining in equivalized volume. This happens when the average price per unit is higher, but each unit is on average a smaller size. An example of this is when vendors experience higher transportation and raw materials costs, and in an effort to maintain profit margins, they increase their prices and decrease the size of their packages. Brand B is growing in dollar sales and equivalized volume, with fewer units sold. This can happen when retailers or vendors introduce or promote larger pack sizes. Brand C is growing dollar and unit sales, but declining in equivalized volume. This can happen if a vendor downsizes their package size and keeps the same unit price. Brand D has slightly higher dollar sales but is declining unit and equivalized volume. This can happen when retailers or vendors take price increases. Now let's review the calculations for some key measures. Dollar volume is the basic calculation of unit sales multiplied by unit price to equal the total dollars. This category represents $390 million in sales at retailer X. You can compare across manufacturers to see who has the largest dollar volume in the category. Absolute volume change is calculated by subtracting volume last year from this year. It gives perspective on what segments are driving category results, in this case from an absolute dollar amount. It also quantifies the dollars lost or gained and combines well with the percent growth rates in the next column. In this example, retailer X is up $16.7 million in this category versus year ago, driven by manufacturers 3 and 1. Growth rate, or percent change versus year ago, is calculated by dividing the dollar volume this year by the dollar volume last year or versus previous period. Segment results should be compared to category growth to determine which segments are driving results up or down. Avoid looking at growth percentage in isolation from other growth numbers. It's easy to get a large percent change on a small base. You need to look at some other growth results like absolute dollar change tied in with the percent change number. The interpretation from this is that the category is growing 4% versus year ago, driven by manufacturers 7, 2, and 3. Note that manufacturer 2 looks like it's a major driver of growth, but when you compare to the absolute change, you can see that because it's so small, it's not an important consideration. We've now given you a preview of our certified course on measuring category health, baseline, and incremental drivers, which will take you to the next level of analysis to maximize this valuable category management data source. The rest of the course gets into significant detail on baseline and incremental sales results, key drivers for them, and creating a SWOT to focus on the biggest areas of opportunity in the category. There are several hands-on workshops to give you practice to understand the measures and draw insights from the data. There are many options for you to choose from if you're interested in purchasing this course. The online course is available for purchase through Our House, which is Category Management Knowledge Group's state-of-the-art online training center. If you'd prefer, we can also run a private webinar for up to 200 people for a cost of $3,000, or a live session at a national or team meeting. Or if you're from a larger organization where many people would want to access the course, we can also make the course available for your use within your own internal learning management system. Your choices are limitless. Return on investment of your data purchase is paramount. For the millions of dollars some organizations spend on data, you want to know that the data is being optimized and maximized. Purchasing data gives your organization facts and data, but you shouldn't allocate your whole budget to data. By adding in software and reporting tools, you're providing them with information. Usually this requires additional budget dollars to pay for the software and tools. For many organizations, the data and software comes with training, and unfortunately many believe that training is enough to develop skills to properly use the data, but it's not. You need to provide applicational training that will help your organization move from data to insights, and teach them how to then turn those insights into action. Not only category management needs to have these skills. Sales, marketing, space management, and other departments require these analytic skills to make more strategic and fact-based decisions in their roles. And to move to breakthrough insights, the right analysis at a much deeper level needs to be done. This is where the specialists do their work, where category management and shopper marketing can complete the in-depth analysis to find those breakthroughs. You need to set aside part of your data budget to pay for the corresponding applicational training to increase capability on your team and in your organization ongoing. This will help you increase data return on investment and, more importantly, move your organization to a more strategic and fact-based approach. At Category Management Knowledge Group, we can work with you to create solutions that will help you move your organization to a more strategic, fact-based place with increased return on investment for data purchased. So where do you go from here? If you're interested in purchasing the certified course or working with us to help you determine multifunctional training opportunities for your organization that will ultimately lead to increased return on your data investment, please contact us. We don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach, and we'll consult with you to ensure that what we deliver meets your specific needs and business issues. We hope to hear from you soon. Have an excellent day.